What's up, guys? It's Diego from SGN, and a whole bunch of icons just got announced yesterday for FIFA 19. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, alright? I wasn't all that hyped up for the game. I wasn't all that excited for the game because, of course, there's been a lot of people saying that the game is actually pretty garbage, and I tend to believe them because a lot of these guys, they're experts in FIFA, and it seems like just about every single person who doesn't actually have a direct affiliation with EA Sports has been saying the game is pretty poor. So I trust their opinions. However, my hype just went up through the roof because they didn't just announce one icon or, they didn't announce just 20. They announced 24, and a lot of them are extremely interesting for me. Of course, anytime there's icons, we're talking about legends here. However, they did exactly what I wanted them to do, and they introduced Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Roy Keane, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Juan Sebastian Veron. They put in so many United players or ex-United players, and I'm so happy about that. So, without further ado, let's talk about the icons that have been added to FIFA 19. The first one they announced was Socrates, and I'm not going to lie, of all the icons they announced, he's probably the one that I'm interested in the least. However, if you look at his prime, I'm just going to be talking about their primes, okay? All of them are, of course, great players. You see all their base versions. They're better than your average 87 player you're going to find. However, if you look at the prime version, 84 pace for a cam is pretty good. It's nothing amazing in terms of pace, but it's 90 shooting, 91 passing, 90 dribbling, and 84 physical is going to be, it's just going to be dominant. So, if I do get him, I'm not going to be like, it's not the one I want the most, but I definitely won't be disappointed in the least bit by getting a guy like Socrates. Then we have Rino Gattuso, who is a player that I've been excited about for quite a while now. I've always wanted to see him be introduced as an icon in FIFA 19 because I just love the tenacity. I love how fierce he was as a player. He's one of those guys that whether you root for Juventus, whether you root for Milan, it does not matter. You have to appreciate his heart. And of course, I would have liked to see him a little bit higher rated, but I think that an 89, it really does kind of suit him because he wasn't this phenomenal player. He wasn't like this. He wasn't very technically gifted. He was just a hard worker. So I think that 89 absolutely represents him perfectly. 73 pace, like I said, it's not that fast, but it's definitely fine for what he was. He was a pretty small guy who was just a workhorse. 65 shooting is pretty piss poor, but he's a defensive midfielder. He's kind of like a Conte type of player, so I think he definitely will have his role. 72 passing isn't bad. 73 dribbling isn't bad either. And 91 defending is phenomenal. And 89 physical for a guy that small, that is really, really good. So I very much look forward to eventually using Gattuso, whether it's in a draft or whether it's in actually getting him. But regardless, man, Gennaro Gattuso is one of my favorite players of all time, and I'm very, very happy to see him in the game. And if you didn't see my top 5 icons I want to see in FIFA 19 video, I will leave it at the end of this one. And I did mention Luis Figo, so I'm very happy to see him at a 92 as a right winger. I always love using wingers in these games. I always play with a 4-3-3 with wingers, of course. And it's just always fun to use a player like Figo. You look at, he has 92 pace, 88 shooting, 89 passing, 92 dribbling, and 80 physical. I mean, the guy is just a powerhouse. He's going to be great in every single position of the pitch, and I very, very much look forward to eventually being able to try him out. And I really do hope that I will eventually have the honor of using this guy on the regular if I can somehow get him in a pack, or if I can somehow get him to an SBC. Hopefully, I have my doubts, of course, but you never know. And Michael Ballack is another player that I'm not that excited about. I mean, listen, he's a phenomenal player. In his prime, he was very, very good. 81 pace is pretty damn good. 90 shooting is phenomenal, of course, for a center midfielder. 88 passing, 83 dribbling is pretty good as well. 80 defending is very solid because he's a very complete package. And 86 physical is just very, very good. Overall, this guy, you can see him alongside Ruud Gullit, for example, and he would definitely be a very, very nice combination there because he pretty much, like I said, is the complete package. So if I get him, I'm definitely going to use him. However, I'm not very hype about him. And this is without a doubt the one that I'm probably least excited about. Of course, there was Socrates, and then there's without a doubt there's Lehmann. Because, I mean, he was a good keeper and all. He was really good. But I don't really give a damn about him. If I want a keeper, I want David De Gea, I want Peter Schmeichel, I want Van der Sar, I want Gigi Buffon. I mean, of course, he's going to be a regular version, but you get the picture, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm looking at guys I really, really want, I'm definitely not looking at Hans Lehmann. So, 87 diving, 91 handling, 86 kicking, 86 reflexes, 57 speed, which who really cares about speed for a keeper, and 90 positioning. So he's a very, very good keeper. There's no doubt about that, especially in the game. But I'm not that excited about him. And finally, the player I've been wanting for so goddamn long, it is Georgie Best. And Holy shit, if I get to use Georgie Best in this game, I might just be the most happy human being on earth for at least the 45 minutes before I realize that I'm not very good at using him, because I'm expecting to not be the best in the world at using George Best. However, man, look at these stats. All right, 93 pace, 91 shooting, 84 passing, 94 dribbling, 58 defending, but he's a right winger. Who cares about defending? And 71 physical. I mean, he's going to be an absolute powerhouse. And I really, really, really hope to God I can somehow manage to find him, whether it's in a draft or whatever, because I need to use him at least once. At least once. I desperately need to use him. He's one of my favorite players of all time. And I don't know. It's just George Best. You know, he's the fucking best. Another player that is kind of low rated, but I'm very excited to use, is Bobo Vieri. And I mean, this guy, whether he's in front of goal or in front of women, you know he's never going to miss a shot. So it's going to be very interesting to see if I do get to use him. His 83 pace, it's not that appealing, I'm not going to lie, because these strikers, usually the pacey, very fast strikers with very good physical stats, those are the guys that you want to use. And of course, he does have 84 physical, so he is a very good player, but that 83 pace, it's just not that special. But we'll see, because 91 shooting is very good, 74 passing is pretty good for a striker as well, and 83 dribbling is definitely very solid. So if I get him, no complaints whatsoever. I'm a big Vieri fan, but there are other people I'd rather have. And Stoichkov, you know, he's a good player. Of course, we all know that. 92 pace really, really makes him very appealing. I mean, like I just said about Vieri, anytime you have a guy with a high amount of pace and he's a striker, you know he's going to be very dangerous. Like, my main striker in FIFA 18 was Callum Wilson, because he had good shooting stats. I think he was, 84 rated? It was the special version. It was the Team of the Week version. I mean, he wasn't like this phenomenal player compared to, say, Ronaldo Phenomenon or Harry Kane or something like that. But he had a lot of pace, and he had some good stats. So a guy like Stoichkov, just imagine having that. 92 pace and 93 shooting, with 86 passing, which is also amazing. 92 dribbling, just wow, and 86 physical. Like, this guy is, I don't know what to say. Like, I really hope I can fucking use this guy. Whether it's the left wing version or the striker version, of course, the prime one, then, yeah, And alongside George Best, there's only two other people that I really want to see, and of course it was Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes. So look at Ryan Giggs. I was kind of hoping he'd be like a 93, but I can't complain about this in the least bit. Look at that, 90 pace, which probably could have been higher, because let's just be real. When Ryan Giggs was at his peak, nobody could catch this dude. Nobody catch this dude. I do like the fact that his 87 version does have 91 pace. So they did a very good job of showing his development. His 89 version has a lot of lower pace, but, you know, just overall, it's still a very, very solid version. And they did kind of just keep him at an older age very, very solid. But his prime version, 90 pace, 80 shooting, 90 passing, 90 dribbling, and 67 physical. I'm very, very excited to use Ryan Giggs if I eventually, as always, like I always say, if I do eventually have the honor and the pleasure of using these players, I'm just going to be in awe of using Ryan Giggs. My dream, I'm not going to lie to you guys, for this game would be to have up front Ruud van Nistelrooy, on the left Ryan Giggs, and on the right Georgie Best. And of course, in the middle of the pitch, Paul Scholes and Roy Keane. Just imagine. Maybe even have, I don't know, Rio Ferdinand in center back. Maybe have Peter Schmeichel in goal. Just, dude, I don't know. Next up, Paul Scholes. I mean, come on, man. His prime version, I kind of think they underrated him a little bit. I think they probably could have done him a little bit more justice and made him a bit better. But you look at it, he has 72 pace, which is acceptable because he was never the quickest guy in the world. But he was very, very smart, and his positioning was phenomenal. 87 shooting is very, very respectable for a center mid. I think, like I said, it probably could have been better, but I think his long-range shots are going to be very, very good. I expect that to be a very, very important part of his game. 91 passing, we all know he's a pass god. 80 dribbling, very good. I mean, it's not like special in any way whatsoever, but it's still very, very solid. And 82 physical for a guy that small, it's very positive. So, like I said, I think they probably could have made him better. But it is what it is, and I'm going to be happy with it regardless. You know, I'm just happy that he's in the game, because realistically, half the time, they don't even put in the players that I actually want to see. Next up, Gianfranco Zola, who is a legendary player. We all know Gianfranco Zola, okay? Whether he played for Chelsea, whether he played for Cagliari, which is on the island that I'm from. I mean, he's just a phenomenal player, all right? Everybody loves Gianfranco Zola. He seems like a very, very nice dude as well. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, of course, even though pretty much every single person here does manage to meet him, I seem to be the only person not to have met him. So it does not matter. If I get him in the game with his 86 pace, 91 shooting, 88 passing, 91 dribbling, and 63 physical, I'll be very, very happy because he is a phenomenal player, and I do want to try him out. He's, like I said, with all these guys, like Bobo Vieri, he's not the best, but if I get him, I will not complain at all. And another player that's going to be very, very exciting if I even have the pleasure of even just trying him out for one game, say if I get him in a draft or something like that, it's Emilio Butragueño. And I mean, just look at this guy's stats. Like I just said, anytime you have a player who has a lot of pace and a lot of shooting, it's just going to be very fun to use. So 94 pace, 90 shooting, 80 passing, 92 dribbling, and 68 physical. It's just he's going to be a very, very good striker. And he's one of those guys that if I manage to get him, I mean, who's going to be able to stop me? I mean, I'm not even a very good player, but with a guy like that, you have just amazing chances to even do anything. So hope to God that I do eventually be able to get a guy with 94 pace and 90 shooting and is a striker. And another guy that I'm extremely excited about is Roy Keane. I honestly didn't expect them to put him in there because they pretty much added the entirety of United's legendary midfield over the past few years, over the past 20 years. So this is surprising, and I'm very, very happy. Now, if you look at his stats, they aren't that great. I'm not going to lie. But the thing is, with these players, a lot of times being a great player in real life doesn't really translate to being a great player in FIFA. And that is pretty much Roy Keane. He wasn't the fastest player. He wasn't a great scorer, even though he did score some really important goals against, like Juventus, for example. But he had that tenacity, that work rate, that just never die mentality that really made him a great player in real life. And that doesn't necessarily translate to FIFA, but if you look at his stats, they are also pretty good. Of course, he's a 90 overall with 72 pace, 71 shooting, 85 passing, 81 dribbling, 87 defending, and 89 physical. So he's a very, very respectable player, and I really hope that I can eventually use him. And one of my favorite players of all time, Pavel Nedved, 85 pace, 88 shooting, 90 passing, 90 dribbling, 60 defending, and 80 physical. If I can get this guy, and just, I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Who doesn't like Pavel Nedved? All right, he played for Juventus, so I'm not a big fan of them. However, this guy is just likable. You cannot deny. Whether it's the way he played, he stick with Juventus when they went down to Serie B. So he's a great dude. You can just tell he's a great dude. So, hats off to Pavel Nedved for making the game, and I do hope I can eventually use him. And as I mentioned before, they added one of my favorite strikers of all time, Ruud van Nistelrooy, and his pace isn't amazing, but 86 pace is still very, very respectable, alongside 91 shooting, 74 passing, 85 dribbling, and 82 physical. I mean, I think his physical probably should have been better, maybe even his dribbling, because we've seen him go past quite a few defenders in a row. I remember one goal, I can't remember exactly who it was against, but he managed to get past pretty much the entire team. So I think his dribbling probably should have been a little bit higher, but regardless, I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And just overall, man, Ruud van Nistelrooy, it would be a phenomenon. It would just be an honor to be able to use this guy. This, in my opinion, is the 2003 version, and if I can get him, dude, fuck. Miroslav Klose. This is another guy who is, of course, a phenomenal player. We all know about Miro Klose. He is the record holder for goals in a World Cup. Was that beaten? I don't think it was. Anyway, he's a great player, but he's another one of those guys that if I get him, good. If I don't get him, I'm not that excited about him. 88 pace, great, of course. 88 shooting, really good. 76 passing, really good. 82 dribbling is good, and 80 physical is good as well. He's a great player, but I'm not that excited about him. Federico Baresi, we all know about him, a phenomenal defender, one of the greatest center backs of all time. His 70 pace doesn't look special, but for a center back, that is very, very good. 76 passing is also very solid for a center back. 72 dribbling is pretty good as well. 95 defending. I'm just going to leave it there. And 82 physical. Great player. I would love to have him. Fernando Hierro, another really, really solid center back. 73 pace, which is, of course, very good for a center back. 76 passing is also very good. 70 dribbling and 93 defending, as well as 87 physical. Just a great fucking player. And if I can get him alongside somebody like Baresi, then my defense might actually not be trash this year. And Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker, of course, great player, 88 pace, 91 shooting, 73 passing, 86 dribbling, and 76 physical. If I get him, I will not be upset in the least bit. Phenomenal player. But I'd rather have Ruud van Nistelrooy. I would rather have Butragueño. But Lineker is also a very good player. He's kind of, I don't know, I kind of have something that I don't like him that much. As a pundit and stuff like that, there's just something about him kind of annoys me, so that might kind of get me to not want to use him. However, if I do get him a 92 rated Gary Lineker, I'm going to use that shit. And Bobby Moore. Okay, 92, 68 pace, kind of slow, but it is what it is. He's a center back. I don't really require a lot of pace out of a center back. I would like to have him against alongside somebody who is quicker. That way he can kind of carry the slack. But 83 passing is very, very good for center back. 78 dribbling, 93 defending, and 85 physical. Phenomenal player. I hope to use him. 91 rated David Trezeguet. This is a guy that might not be that great in the game. I'm not going to lie, because 81 pace, it's not great for a striker. I've mentioned this before. If you have a striker in the 90s, when it comes to pace, he's going to be overpowered. He's going to be a lot better than pretty much any other striker you're going to be using in the game. Now, if I get him, and if crosses do indeed prove themselves to be a very, very solid way of scoring in this game, unlike in FIFA 18, then I would definitely be excited about using this guy, because he's a great physical presence in the box. And he has 81 pace. He's not bad, not special, but 92 shooting is great. 70 passing is pretty good. 82 dribbling is pretty good, and 80 physical is also pretty good. So he's a very, very good player. He might not be great from a FIFA point of view just based on his pace, but if they do boost up the ability to score on crosses, he's going to be very dangerous. And Sol Campbell. Now, this is another guy. He's a great defender. Let's not get that twisted. But am I that excited about him? Not really. 80 pace for a defender is just monstrous for a center back. 60 passing, not great, but like I said, he's a center back. I'm not too big of a fan. I don't really require my center backs to be these modern center backs who can play out the back. That's not something that I really worry about too much. 90 defending and 90 physical. He's just a powerhouse, all right? You put him there, and he's going to be an immovable force. So I would actually, now that I think about it, with 80 pace, 90 defending, and 90 physical, I would really, really love to have him as my main defender. He would be a great player to have there, and he might be one of the cheaper ones because of his low rating. Nakata, okay, I already mentioned this a few times. There have been other players I've said are probably my least interesting players that they've, the ones I'm least interested in, least excited for, that they've added to FIFA 19, but this is actually 100% the one I'm least excited about. Because, listen, let's just be honest here, why is he even really there? I mean, he's a good player, we all know that, but when it comes to icons, this guy, I guess he's just kind of there to be low tier. He's going to be the guy that you'll be getting in the packs. Every time you get an icon, it's probably going to be him. Of course, he's a great player. Just no doubt about that. But 85 pace, 84 shooting, 86 passing, 87 dribbling, and 65 physical. It's good and all, but it's nothing special. There's going to be plenty of regular players I would rather have than him. So if I get him, I mean, it's an icon. I can sell the shit out of him, so I will make money off of him. But realistically, I'm not excited about him at all. And last but definitely not least, it is yet another former United player, and it is Juan Sebastian Veron. Just a fucking monster. A monster. Him alongside Roy Keane, alongside Paul Scholes. Just imagine my midfield like that. With Ryan Giggs. Just I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to say anything. I'm getting sweaty just thinking about it. We have Juan Sebastian Veron. 76 pace. It's acceptable. 85 shooting. 90 passing, 85 dribbling, 77 defending, and 85 physical. He's a monster. All right, he's a fucking monster. So I very, very much desire to use him in this game. And even, I'm not going to go ahead and say anything. Anyway, I'm just going to end it like that. So my ideal team out of this would be, of course, in goal, if he's still there, Peter Schmeichel. When it comes to fullbacks, I don't know. They haven't really said anything about fullbacks that I'm particularly interested in. Right backs, of course, there was Zanetti last year. He's good and all, but when it comes to fullbacks, nobody particularly interesting. Center backs, I think that Sol Campbell. I said I wasn't all that interested in him. However, after seeing him here, I kind of want to use him quite a bit alongside, say, Federico Baresi. Midfield, of course, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, and Juan Sebastian Veron. Up front, as my main striker, Ruud van Nistelrooy. On the left, Ryan Giggs. And on the right, the one and only George Best. That would be my ideal icon setup. Of course, talking about their prime versions for FIFA 19. And of course, I'm probably not going to be able to use any of them. It's just probably not going to happen. But a man can dream. I'm going to work my fucking ass off to be able to do that. What do you think of the icons they added? How excited are you from 1 to 10 about FIFA 19 after these announcements? And are you going to buy the game? I already did. I already pre-ordered. And hopefully I will get an icon in one of those in one of those 40 packs that I get for free. Hopefully that will be the case, but I highly doubt it. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share the video. Thank you so much to anybody who does that. As always, big shout out to every single one of my subscribers and everybody who continues to support this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.